Today, we're diving into a powerful blueprint for taking on our biggest internal enemy. It comes from the work of Stephen Sylvester, and it's all about a practical guide for unlocking your true potential by learning how to manage the one thing that's probably holding you back the most, your ego.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a really fundamental question. Seriously, take a second and think about it. When you consider the single greatest obstacle standing between you and your success or your growth, or even just your happiness, who or what comes to mind?
You know how it is. We usually point our fingers outward. It's the tough boss, the fierce competition, or just a string of bad luck. But the source material for this explainer argues something pretty profound. Your biggest enemy doesn't live out there. It lives right inside your own mind. Yep, it's your own ego.
So, before we can even think about fighting this thing, we've got to understand it first. What exactly is this invisible enemy we call the ego?
And right off the bat, this is a huge distinction. We tend to think of ego as just arrogance or being vain, but Sylvester totally reframes it. It's not a statement of confidence, he says. It's a question that comes from a deep-seated insecurity. It's a defense mechanism, plain and simple.
Yeah, this really hits the nail on the head. The ego is basically a facade. It's this mask we put on to look all confident and put together for the world, but really, underneath it all, we're just hiding a deep fear of not being good enough.
So think of it this way. This enemy inside you, it's on a really simple diet. It absolutely loves praise, and it is terrified of criticism. Imagine a famous cricketer at the peak of their game, just fueled by adoration. But the moment their performance dips a little, that same ego starts to freak out, totally consumed by what people might say. It's why the ego can help get you to the top, but it sure as heck won't let you stay there.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper, because here's where it gets really tricky. The ego, well, it tends to get strongest right when we're at our most successful.
It makes sense, right? The more you succeed, the more praise you get. People start telling you you're a genius, you're special, and slowly you start to believe your own hype. Success is literally like gasoline poured on the fire of your ego, turning that healthy confidence into some pretty dangerous arrogance. And there's really no better example of this than Nokia. Remember them? In the early 2000s, they were untouchable, the absolute kings of the mobile world. Their success created this massive collective ego where they honestly believed they were invincible. So when the first iPhone launched, what did they do? They laughed at it. Their ego literally blinded them to a fundamental shift in reality. And, well, we all know how that story ended. Their empire just crumbled. So if success is the poison, what's the antidote? Well, luckily, the book lays out a really clear blueprint for what it calls an ego detox. And the very first step, the most crucial one, is actually super simple. It's just awareness.
Okay, these 3 steps are your foundation. It all starts with you basically becoming an ego detective in your own life. Start that journal. Notice that little flash of jealousy when a colleague's idea gets picked over yours, or that desperate need to make sure everyone knows you were behind that big team win. I know, it's brutally honest work, but it's essential. And check this out. This slide breaks it down perfectly. The ego is the knower. It's like a cup that's already full. Nothing new can get in. But humility, that's the learner. Always open, always ready for feedback and new ideas. It's that huge shift from a mindset that's all about I to one that embraces we.
And finally, we have to go even deeper, because a lot of the time that tough, arrogant exterior is just armor, right? It's protecting a younger version of you that once felt rejected or judged or just not good enough. And when you start to heal that part of yourself with some compassion, you begin to realize you don't even need the armor in the first place. So once you start this detox process, you'll see it's not just about managing your reactions or your bad moods. It's way bigger than that. It can fundamentally change the way you experience your entire life. Think about it. The ego is the ultimate storyteller. It's constantly whispering this narrative in your ear, where you're either the amazing hero who did it all alone, or you're the poor victim that everyone's ganging up on. We get so attached to these stories that they become our identity. But here's the game changer. You can become the author of your story, not just a character in it. Think of that athlete whose ego creates a victim story after an injury. Well, by deliberately rewriting that narrative, they can transform from a victim into a survivor, and maybe even a teacher, finding a totally new and powerful purpose. And doing this, that's how you escape the ego's favorite traps. You stop that toxic cycle of comparing your real, messy life to someone else's curated social media feed. You start to see criticism not as a personal attack, but as valuable data.
And you learn that forgiveness isn't about letting someone else off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the poison of resentment.
All right, so this whole detox journey, it all leads to the most important, most profound realization of all, a complete shift in how you see yourself.
And here it is. This is the big one. You are not your ego. The ego, with all its fears, all its dramas, all that chatter in your head, that's not the real you. It's just a character you've learned to play. The real you is the silent, calm consciousness behind it all. The audience, just watching the actor on the stage.
And this is such a brilliant way to think about it, isn't it? Imagine your mind is a radio station, and it's stuck on Ego FM. You can't just switch it off. That music is always going to be playing. But you can stop taking the lyrics so seriously. You can learn to just notice, there's that song playing on Ego FM again, and choose not to get lost in it.
By creating that little bit of distance, that's how you take your power back. See, the goal isn't to destroy the ego. It's a useful tool for navigating the world. The goal is to tame it, to put it back in its proper place, so that your authentic self, the you that isn't trying to impress anyone, can finally step forward.
So I want you to leave with this thought. For a long time, your ego has been narrating your life story, and it's a story often based on fear. But you're not just the narrator. You're the author. You are the one holding the pen. So the only question left is, what story will you choose to write?